Welcome to Kinks and Beats Daily. I'm your host, Tony Fry. I'm glad you're listening today. Today we are talking about a Beatles song called It's Only Love. It's a John Lennon composition released August 6th, 1965 on the Help album. If you lived in America at the time, you had to wait. It was on the American version of Rubber Soul, which is, I think when we get to doing Rubber Soul as a full album review like we did for Abbey Road a couple weeks ago, I think I'm going to do a second episode specifically on the American version of that album because it is a very different album with the song selection that they picked. There's not a lot to say about It's Only Love, and I realized going into today's episode that there are going to be times, with the exception of Wild Honey Pie, there are going to be times when I'm critical of a song that is somebody's favorite song. And I say with that exception because Wild Honey Pie is nobody's favorite song. But this one, It's Only Love, might be. And I'm going to be kind of critical of it because it's not that good of a song lyrically. And the saving grace of this is that it's a beautiful melody, very simple, single step movement for most of it. Da dee da 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 dee da da dum. It's very simple, almost childlike melody in the verse. The chorus obviously starts to soar a little bit, but lyrically, this is a horrible song. It's just not good. And when you look at what the other things that Lennon was producing lyrically at this time, it is definitely something that he threw away and didn't edit. And I guess Paul and George brought no constructive comments to the table. Lennon himself called it lousy with abysmal lyrics, and he's right. So I was listening to it in preparation of this episode, like I do. And this is admittedly a song I usually skip. But I'm listening to the words, and I think, there's no way those are the words. I'm hearing it wrong. There's no way John Lennon said my twice. Well, guess what? I go to the internets. It confirms my ears that he does say my twice. So I was like, well, the internets aren't any smarter than I am a lot of the time. Maybe they heard it wrong too. So then I consulted the official published Northern Songs published lyrics. And he absolutely does say my twice. So what are we talking about? When you sigh, my inside just flies. So first off, the verses are basically he picked a word and then found every rhyme for that word. In the first verse, the word is high. I get high. So then he had to use every rhyme for high. I get high. I see you go by. My oh my. When you sigh, my inside just flies. The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plains. And then on the second verse, the word is right, where we heard right and fight, sight and bright, very bright. Haven't I the right? I mean, okay. It's not the least clever way to construct a song lyric, but it's pretty darn close. So let's just break down this one sentence. When you sigh, my inside just flies. Butterflies. Not his insides, plural. Inside, singular. Two my's. So like the line should be, when you sigh, my insides just fly. But I guess, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense either. Obviously, he knows he's got a pretty good melody here, so he's sticking to his guns on this melody. And the lyrics are sacrificed. But then you've got, Is it right that you and I should fight every night? Okay, so they're fighting every night. Then the next line, just the sight of you makes nighttime bright. So they're fighting every night, but the sight of her makes the night bright. I mean, this is a troubled relationship. Very bright. Haven't I the right to make it up, girl? I don't know what that even means. But then we get to the chorus. It's only love, and that is all. Why should I feel the way I do? It's only love, and that is all. But it's so hard loving you. This is a double-edged sword of a song, of a lyric. And I imagine this gets played every now and then at weddings and stuff. You know, people, a lot of times, they call, like, you'll hear people call Yesterday a great love song. And it's really not. It's a breakup song. And this song, it might be the chronicles of an abusive relationship. All they do is fight, but she makes it bright. And I guess you could interpret that he's the screw up, and that he's not respecting her the way he should, which for John Lennon at this point, it could be a direct message to Cynthia, his wife at the time. But I don't know. I just can't get over every night just the my oh my when you sigh my ins. So in three measures of music, the word my, 2 letters, my, my, has been said 4 times. My oh my, when you sigh, my inside just flies. 4 times for my. He might as well just been saying na 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 na. That's the quality of these lyrics. Except when Paul did that on Hey Jude, he wasn't trying to pass those off as legitimate song lyrics. So here's the good part. If you love this song and you're still listening to me bash it, let's get to the good part. Sorta. I actually got one more thing to say negative about it. The recording is pretty. You've got a bunch of 12-string guitars. The acoustics are capoed at the 5th fret, so you have a real high-pitched, instead of your opening strings being like this, they're up here. So you've got all the chord shapes are from the 5th fret up. So you've got these very high-pitched voiced chords on the 12 string, and then other acoustic guitars. So there are a lot of vibrating strings supporting this song. You've got a cool... George did all the electric guitar work on this. You've got a cool little George opening line. It's another one of those things that George was so great at doing. You can't do a cover of this song without playing that guitar line. And it's not anywhere else in the melody. You know, this is like, right? It's a critical component to this song that only appears as a guitar lick. And then because of the nature of the chord progression on this, you've got some chromatic movement within the chords. So the chords don't move on their own. It's C to E minor to B flat major, F major, G augmented 5. So that's not a chromatic movement or anything like that. But C has a C in it. E minor has a B in it. B flat has a B flat in it. F has an A in it. So you've got within the chords, if you take the root of the first chord and put that on top, and then the 5th of the next chord, then the root of the next chord, then the 3rd of the next chord, and then the root of the next chord. You got this chromatic movement. You're picking it out of different elements of the chord, but now you've got this. So that's a cool little electric guitar part that George adds, highlighting the chromatic movement within the chords. And but then he's got these little licks. Dun, da, da, do, dun, dun, da, 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 and some of them are beautiful. And some of them, I'm not real sure George has ever touched a guitar before. It sounds to me like they're mistakes. And some of them are more faint, but they should have been pulled out completely because it stumbles through some of these. So I don't know how that got past Beatles quality control, but there is some beautiful guitar work on this song, and then there's some clunky guitar work on this song. And I'm not sure if they're mistakes or if the recording, just certain notes are a little bit more buried, which is possible that he was playing more there and we just can't hear it in the mix. So maybe when Help gets remastered and remixed down the line, these lines will sound a little bit cleaner if I can hear more of the parts. But as it is now, there's some bad guitar playing on here next to some beautiful guitar playing. But overall, it is a pleasant sounding song. Like I said, it's got a nice melody, but it also kind of plods along. It's a little bit slow. And it's like a minute and 56 seconds long. So I don't know how they could have sped it up, because it would have been a minute long if they would have done it any faster. And I certainly don't want John to write another verse. But yeah, it just kind of plods along, and I'm just never been super excited about this song. And now that I've done a little bit deeper look into the lyrics, they're even worse than I thought they were. So It's Only Love, it has so much potential to have been better. But then on the flip, it's still a Beatles classic. People know this song. This is not an obscure song. People know this song. People love this song. And I don't fault them for it. There is some nice stuff about this song. But, if we're going to sit here and just blindly praise everything the Kinks and the Beatles ever did, every now and then I have to be critical. And this is one of those songs that I can't get behind this and say that it is fantastic. If you haven't listened to it in a while, you can swing by our page at herohabit.com. And under the podcast banner, you'll find a link to this podcast. And if you click that, there's a playlist on Spotify. There are the episode recaps, or the weekly recaps of all the episodes, which also include the audio of the song we're talking about. So if you swing by Hero Habit, you can listen to it. All the songs that we list. I've already got next week's songs posted on the playlist too. So go ahead and swing by herohabit.com. And then if you think I'm way out of line to criticize this song, let me know about it. 925-494-1739. Or you can email me, kinksandbeats@herohabit.com. And that's it for today. I will talk to you guys. Today's Friday, so if we're listening to this in real time, I will talk to you guys on Monday. Hope you have a great weekend. And please let me know what songs by these great bands you love or hate. Send me that voicemail. I want to add more voicemails to our podcast and get you guys involved. All right, I will talk to you guys on Monday as we get back into the Kinks catalog. Bye. This podcast is presented by the Hero Habit Podcast Network. Swing by HeroHabit.com today to comment on this episode and poke around our growing database of sports and pop culture news, reviews, and collectibles. HeroHabit.com. Collect your heroes.